Hey there, and welcome back to Solo and Sassy, the podcast for singles who are ready to stop waiting, stop swiping endlessly, and start living this season of life with confidence, joy, and just the right amount of sass. I'm Harry, and today we're tackling the big one, first dates. Before we get started, if you don't mind, and you could hit that like and that subscribe button, we would really appreciate it, and thanks in advance. Now, I don't know about you, but just hearing the words first date can bring up a whole cocktail of emotions, excitement, nerves, dreaded butterflies, maybe even that voice in your head that says, here we go again. But what if we reimagine first dates? What if instead of auditions, they were just conversations, adventures, little experiments in connection? That's exactly what we're diving into today. How to take the pressure off, keep things fun, and actually enjoy first dates again. So grab your coffee or a glass of wine and let's get into it. Why first dates feel so heavy? First dates feel stressful because we load them with too much meaning. We think, what if this is the one? What if it's terrible and I've wasted my time? What if I embarrass myself? The truth, none of these things matter on date one. The first date is just a vibe check, not a life plan, not an audition, just two people figuring out, do I like being around this person enough to see them again? That's it. Very simple. I once had a friend who treated every date like she was hiring for a husband position. She had a mental checklist, and by the end of coffee, she'd already decided if he was husband material. Guess what? She never had fun. Brings me to another story. I once met a member who said, Harry, this guy emailed me on a dating site, and you know what? It just wasn't, no, there was no connection. I read the profile. I didn't even contact him back. There was no reason. I had no interest. Then, a few weeks later, a few months go by, and she goes to a party at someone's house. And guess whose house it was? Yep, his. He opens the door. Now they're married. How'd that happen? He wasn't her type. He wasn't this, da da da. She had this whole checklist that he didn't meet. Yet when she met him, they clicked and now they're married. So just keep that in mind. Forget the checklist, forget all the BS. Just do what you feel natural. You'll trust me, you'll know. She finally shifted her mindset to I'm just here to see if I enjoy an hour with this person. Dating became lighter, easier, and honestly more successful. So here's some first dates do's and don'ts. Do. Keep it short and sweet. Think coffee, happy hour, or a walk. No need for a 4-hour dinner or a weekend trip to Napa. Under 2 hours is a sweet spot. And that makes so much sense. You really don't want to go eat. You want to go do an event. Those kind of things are better. Go to the art museum. Go to an opening. Go to a fair. Do something out, that you got something to talk about later. Because that's what this is all about. You want conversation. And you don't want to sit there and sound like it's an interview. So here's what you don't want to do. Turn it into an interview. Avoid the resume questions. So what do? How long have you been divorced? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I mean, I don't know about you, but if someone asks me that crap, I'm out of there so fast it'd make your head spin. Nothing irritates me more than when I meet somebody and all they do is tell me about their ex. I think I mentioned this in a story earlier in one of the other podcasts that there was a person that came to one of our Phoenix singles events, and all she did was complain and complain and complain about her ex. He did this wrong, da da da, and just went on and on. I would have bet money at that point that this was very raw and this is fresh. And this just happened less than, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Then I find out it happened 9 years ago. I'm like, 9 years? Are you serious? 9 years and you're still talking about it? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe therapy might help. But that's not my place to say, so I kept my mouth shut. You want to bring curiosity. Treat your date like a fun experiment. Instead of, is this my soulmate? Try, what can I learn about this person? What's one cool story I can take away? Don't overshare or trauma dump. This is what I was talking about earlier. Your ex, your finances, your medical history, save it. First dates are about connection, not confessions. Keep that in mind. They don't need to know, and they don't want to know, just like you don't want to know. Conversation is gold. Let's get practical. Here are some actual fun questions you can use. What's the most random thing that made you laugh this month? If you don't tell if you could teleport yourself anywhere right now, where would you go? And hopefully the answer is not away from you. But if it is, you learned something anyway. What's a totally underrated spot in the city? What's something new that you've tried recently? Those spark conversations, not stats. Another thing, like I mentioned earlier, if you go to a museum, hey, remember that piece of art? I like that piece of art, or I like this, and da da da. It gives you something to talk about. Because that's really what this is all about. When you go on your second date, you have something to reference. Hey, do you remember when we went to this thing and we saw that weird looking guy looking at that piece of art? Or how about that piece of art? Or something along those lines. You have things to talk about. So instead of asking, so what do you do? Try, what's the most fun part of your week so far? See the difference? One feels like a job interview, the other feels like an invitation to play. Red flags versus quirks. This is important. At our age, we all have quirks, but quirks aren't deal breakers. Red flags are. Red flags. They trash all their exes. Another red flag. They pressure you about the future. They don't listen or respect boundaries. These are all big, big red flags and probably tells you that, you know what? This is not the person for you. Quirks are nerdy hobbies, a unique sense of humor, social awkwardness at first. Those are little cute quirks, and you know what? You can overcome those. The red flags, not so much. The key is learning to spot the difference. Don't throw away a potentially great connection because someone loves Star Trek marathons. But don't excuse red flags like controlling behavior just because you're lonely. Ending on a high note, here's a secret. The best dates end while the energy is still good. Thank them genuinely. Call out something specific you enjoyed. Suggest a casual next step if you're interested. Example, this was fun. I loved hearing about your Italy trip. Next time, we should go grab tacos. Seems like you should say, next time, let's go get some Italian food. But hey, that's just I'm throwing that in there too. And if you're not interested, be kind, clear, and classy. No ghosting, just a simple thank you for meeting me. I don't feel the connection, but I wish you the best. Mindset reset. At the end of the day, first dates aren't about proving you're worthy. They're about seeing if your lives, energy, and humor align just enough for a round two. So go into your next first date like this. You're not auditioning. You're not waiting for approval. You're not choosing you first. When you bring that when you bring that confidence, it changes everything. So remember, every first date is just a mini adventure. Some will be fun, some will be awkward, and some might just surprise you. But every single one gets you closer to clarity, confidence, and maybe a connection. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're becoming. And the right person will love that. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Solo and Sassy. If this gave you a little spark of confidence, share it with your single friends. Hit subscribe and grab a copy of the Singles Handbook, your fearless guide to thriving in single life. Until next time, stay bold, stay flirty, and of course, stay sassy. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay healthy.